Rasta rise, Rasta rise. I and I come to Rasta rise. Rasta rise, Rasta rise. I and I come to Rasta rise. Rasta rise, Rasta rise.
RasTafari.
Times he's been lecturing and now he's been writing some works on the concept of Ubuntu, that is humanity. He was come also as an invitation and was present some works at the university. I now also would like him also to give me some chance also to link up with Aina reasonings in terms of this concept of Ubuntu. As I know that even Aina, these are the fathers and I come from, as I know that I rise with this consciousness. There is a link, with Aina Africa. So I would like to give him this arm so that just maybe to present something on the...
He is to give me the power to speak. So all what I say, I'm saying it is him who speaks through me, whom he has delegated, and therefore, because he is the seat of wisdom, and he can pass this wisdom to me in order to speak on his behalf. Therefore, what I'm saying now, that is acknowledgement of the only quality that God has given us, and that is the quality of Ubuntu. When a visitor comes to you at home or anywhere, in Africa we use the word of greeting, khotso, which means peace unto you. Then we open our arms, we receive you. The first thing we do, we give you water to drink, for water is the source of life. We give you food to eat, for this fruit that you see here is a symbol, African symbol of welcome and humanity. And then we pass the snuff or the pipe for you to share the pipe with us. I am surprised tonight that I came here and nobody offered me the pipe. Which means, if you do not do that, I as an African, I say I am not welcome. No, that is the African way of extending of Ubuntu. Is it a recognition that what you drink, I drink, what you eat, I eat, what you enjoy, I enjoy, and in the words of a great African sage, I say to you that Harlem, when you bleed, my handkerchief is full of your blood. When you twitch with pain, I feel the sting in my loins. For you and me, dear brother and sister, are but one. One blood, one flesh, one bone, one spirit. That is Ubuntu. Now, here we go further and say, I would like to say, not to go too deep, but simply to mention this. When you were created, when God created man, he breathed the spirit of humanity into the nostrils of men, and this immediately transformed all men to be human. For instance, God created the animal. He's not human. He never breathed anything into the nostrils of the animal. God created the pole, the sink, everything. But the only difference of all creation is what God put into the nostrils of man after creation, and that made him to be human. And thus makes him into a human being. Now, that makes man to live. With this breathing, he then gave certain things that made a person to be different from the animal. Now, what he gave to him? First, he gave intelligence, to think, the intellect, intelligence. And again, he gave the wisdom that our elders are having, the wisdom that we are all having. God gave you. And the wisdom, this makes you different from anything, from an animal, from the tree, from the stone. Again, God gave here justice. Now, in the constitutional law today, when our constitution is being made, what we find, we must search, has it got justice? Is it just to all people? The Constitution says all human rights must be preserved. The Constitution does not say the human rights of others and not the others, but say the human rights of all people must be preserved, and each and every person must enjoy his rights and the justice that comes from the constitutional law. But we find this law still having the Babylon influence. That is, when it says everybody is entitled to his rights or her rights, the law in this country would rather see the rights given to all people, and by people meaning all people, and in this country including even the prostitute and the homosexuals, but not the Rastafari to have the ancestral way.
Wicked. Wicked, Babida.
Now, why should others enjoy the rights and receive justice and not the Rasta community? We have got the love. The Rasta community is exercising one of the qualities of Ubuntu. One love, sister. One love, brother. That is all in us. We are exercising that. And we have the care. We must care for each other. Look after each other. And be concerned about each other. And these are the attributes of Ubuntu. Ubuntu means the care the love, the divine love that God has given into us. This Ubuntu is not only to be practiced within the African community alone. No. If you do that, you are killing Ubuntu, because Ubuntu is universal all over the world where a human soul is existing. You'll ask me a question. Do you think that De Koka and Kotsis van der Merwes, who murdered so many blacks in this country, have they got Ubuntu? You will ask me a question, that the German Nazis who murdered the Jews, have they got Ubuntu? You'll ask me to say the murderer in the street who are shooting and killing and hijacking the cars, have they got Ubuntu? I'll say no. Then you'll come back to me. But you, Brother Koka, you say God has given Ubuntu to each and every one of us. How are those without it? I say no. They have Ubuntu. But they decided to ignore Ubuntu and not to exercise. Let me give you this example. A priest, a young man who joins priesthood, goes to the monastery. He decides to say he is not going to get married. He decides to say he's going to remain a celibacy. And that priest, he will live from year to year without a wife, without anything. But it does not mean to say that he is not sexual. He is sexual. But he has decided to ignore his sexuality. In the same manner, these people have decided to ignore Ubuntu, to ignore the humanness in them. And they have taken it out of themselves and put in the bestial spirit, the spirit of the beast, the spirit of murder, the spirit of the devil is in them. And that's why they're doing the act against humanity. We were talking with a brother here. There is that man in Ethiopia who decided to replace the Lion of Judah. What was his name?
Mengistu.
Good. Now, we say, where is he today?
Zimbabwe.
Now, he murdered so many people, thousands for communism, and did working for foreign country, murdered his own people. But he interfered with danger, the anointed one of the Lord, Haile Selassie. He couldn't have survived. He couldn't have survived. The Ubuntu in him had died. And Ubuntu in him was out. He was dehumanized. He was no more a human being. Now, that is the part I would like to point out to you with regards to Ubuntu. I'll answer as many questions as possible. And then we have got, finally, the two gold or yellow candles, which are there to signify to signify the wealth that this country has given, this continent has given to us. This, we celebrate it all during the Kwanzaa. And I think, in short, this is all what I wanted to say to you. And I wanted, one, I've explained to you what Ubuntu is and where it comes from. Two, I mentioned about the retaining of our culture as an exercise of fulfilling the humanness in us. Three, I've spoken to you about the Kwanzaa as a celebration and thanksgiving to Almighty God. Thanks for tonight, brothers and sisters. Thanks. Brothers and sisters, outside this continent, they have never stopped being African by virtue of being out of this continent. And I can tell you frankly, this afternoon, brothers mentioned about the Africans in Brazil. In Brazil, there are 75 million Africans, and they are having a study which is an Afrikaner study. And they never lost themselves. I've been to some of the Caribbean islands. When I can't forget that, for instance, when I go to Barbados in the evening, almost like this, I had this drum beating. And I said to the brothers I said, take me to where the drum is beating. And I found that I had the best drumming that I've ever had. Even in Africa, they never had that. And that's, they retain their Africanness. Again, in the night, the moon was shining. I had people singing down in the valley. And as they were singing, we stopped. We said, let us trace who those people are. We drove down and we found the brethren and sisters dancing the dance of Shango, the god of fire, and which is an African religion. Therefore, we have got this expression, brother. You can take an African out of Africa, but you can never take Africa out of the African. Never. Never. And I must say, with my traveling, I found the Rasta community retaining the Africanness far, far better than the community in Soweto, in Johannesburg, in Guguletu, or anywhere. They still retain that because we are tending to lose our Africanness because we would like to be whites. All right. Thanks, brother.
I will conscious pass my own vision of it unto the man. When my Papa Rastafari, Haile Selassie, created this whole world, he created it as Africa. Man created borders and countries and states. Not Rastafari. Him came and eliminated for I all borders, including borders between race, borders between whatever man they put there. Rastafari come, while when he opened the 7 seals behind him, take away all these things. So for I, there is no such thing as a Chinese. For I, there is no such thing as an American. For I, man, there is only such a thing as Africans. For the whole world is Africa. Selassie, the Emperor.
To add that, you are very right, because when God created us, all God breathed into the nostrils of everyone, black or white, equally. And therefore, we all share the humanness that God has given unto us. Thanks.
In terms of the African concept, how do we make the African concept to be attractive to the youth, taking into cognizance that most of the youth now use technological things? We might say they're in in another way. So how do we make this cultural aspect to be in one form, to be modernized, or to be in tune with what is happening?
In the first place, no culture is primitive. And therefore, all our cultures, we don't even say we are modernizing, but we are to live it according to the present age as it is developing. Right. The youth of today do not know anything about the African culture, because we as Africans have never taught our youth. One, in the system of education that is going on in this country, that system of education is Eurocentric. There is no difference between the system of education that we are having here and with that which we can find in America, we can find in Germany, we can find in Britain. It's Euro-centered, it's centered on Europe. It is, let me put it this way, brother. In a computer, if you can go to the computer and you type Brother Koka, or you type Africanization, or you type Africology, and you go for spelling check, spell check, Brother Koka will be rejected by the computer. Africanization will be rejected by the computer, simply because that computer is programmed to accept Peter, to accept Margaret Thatcher, to accept this, but not to accept Brother Koka or Brother Shango. Then our children are programmed by their system of education to accept anything that which is European, but never to accept anything that which is African. So, what is our task? Is to deprogram them. We must decolonize their minds so as to make the present youth to accept themselves as Africans. And this process must go through education. Now, when we examine the curriculum of education today, that curriculum of 1996 is just like the curriculum which has been going on ever since the white man put his foot here. Therefore, it is for us to study that curriculum and make representation that it must take an African feature. It must include ours.
Rastafari, I and I come to Rastafari. Rastafari is Rastafari. I and I come to Rastafari. Rastafari is Rastafari.